since we are another thing, since we are into the topic of talking about international students and the difficulties of international students, one of the things is when we come here, we get into so much of a pressurized or stress situation that most of us has to. I think, I don't know the exact data. I think it's 1 out of 4 people, but 1 out of 4 international students has to go through mental health issue. So since you are working as a mental health ambassador, let's talk about that and around that. Why do you think most of us has to go through that mental health issues, and what's the situation like in Australia? Because as from what I know is it's much better out here. Like we can talk about it much easily. There are help lines and resources available. Every university must have counselors who can help you to start when you don't know where to start with, you know. So what do you take on the mental health out here in Australia?
Definitely. While talking about the mental health conditions of international students, I would definitely like to refer back to the culture that we come from. Look, we got a lot of stigma about the mental health. We still struggle to open up. We still, though we got, for example, though I stayed here for 4 years, and then I've been volunteering as a multicultural ambassador for mental health foundation Australia. Sometimes I also struggle. I struggled so hard that I had to make the decisions in a very last moment to seek counseling services. Even the individual like me who really want to open up about their mental health struggle, it's really, really, really difficult for me to open up during that time. So what I meant by this is there is stigma. The people really do not want to talk about it. There are the resources, a lot of resources, but at first, we do not know where to start from. There are the resources definitely in university, but sometimes
it's hard to go out there and actually seek that help right now.
So because we don't have that culture of seeking help, you know what? We do not like to ask for help. That's the cultural thing.
I think it's only regarding mental health. If you look into other things, we do have a habit of asking for like things, other things. we have a habit of asking things. It's not that we don't have that. It's just in the mental health space we don't have that.
You could be right that case as well. Yeah, people definitely ask for other things, but definitely ask for help. So, look, what is the could be majority of the mentality that when they ask for help, they feel some sort of the minority. They feel that they're in a they feel that power imbalance. You know, when they ask for help, they feel that power imbalance, that they feel like they're being powerless, and then people do not want to be in the position of powerlessness. They always want to have that power of knowledge, a power of having that assistance when they look for. And then when they have that scarcity, they will definitely experience that powerlessness. And then they do not want to be in that position. So that sort of mentality would sometimes act as a barrier to ask for or to seek for support that are already available. As you've already mentioned, there are some, the counseling sessions, almost 10 sessions free in the university. But in the beginning, sometimes we do not know how those counseling services work.
Yeah, so, it's hard. It's already hard being in that situation, and then you have to go to, and again, this is the kind of thing which comes with the stigma, where what you said, like we can't just go out and ask for help.
Yeah,
because you're already going through that situation which is already hard on yourself, and to actually go out and talk to someone else in a country that you're very new, it's kind of pretty difficult,
another level of challenge, isn't it? So that way international students are having really difficult time. But having said this, we can always work together to make the services already available in the university make better, make more culturally responsive. How we can do that? Probably describing about those services in different languages, or probably having the the ambassador student international students ambassador from different countries. It shouldn't be like international students centers should be run by a male white Australian person. You know what I mean? If there are there should be the representation. So there should be a member of the I'm not blaming university. They are doing fantastic, but often they are failing to have this culturally responsive, culturally safe environment. So I do not want to seek help from a man white Australian person. If there is somebody that I can really trust, then only I can open up. Exactly. But at the same time, we have to also consider sometimes some students or some people, they do not like to open up to the to the people from their own community, because our community is small. It's emerging community. It's small community. So when we open up our issues, then they think that the whole community will know, and then the parents back in the country will know. Yeah. So in that case, they want to talk to the different people. So in that space, we should definitely have the resources, and we have that resources back in university as well. But some people who would really like to open up in their own language. Look, if I have to talk about my struggle, I feel more comfortable to talk about in Nepali language. You know what I mean? So that cultural space should be maintained. So having that resources around in the community, in the university is quite important. And then universities are really stepping up in that space as well. I really appreciate their effort. So I think things are going positive, but still we need to we need to have a lot of resources spread around in the community. And then definitely our community organizations are also doing great. For example, while talking this, I would definitely like to appreciate the work of the ANPL, that is Australian Nepal. Oh my God, I just forgot the full form of the organization, but it's ANPL. Okay. Something link. What I wanted to say is what they are doing is, they are doing the mental health first aid course. And then I was also one of the participants. And then they are running those course for free.
So is it happening here like in Australia?
Yeah, here in Australia. Okay. Look, even in your your podcast, you can share that link, and then because so they are offering those sort of the mental health first aid the training, and then getting into that 2-day long training, I got to know more about what are the challenges we are facing, and what are the resources that we have in the community, and how community people are coming up, or how what is the current that we do not have definitely data, but what is the current situation, what is the ongoing thing in terms of the mental health. So I think I request as much as those international students and the community members to be a part of the mental health first aid course. That would definitely help its individual, and then those individuals will definitely work in the community.
So ANPL, you said that's the company name, or?
Oh, hey, I think I get it. Australian Nepal Public Link. Yeah.
Public Link. So it's basically an organization.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to, do you know anyone in there? in
Yes,
the organization?
definitely. I can definitely connect you with the main people in NPL. So, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Niranjan Goli, and then Bharat Nepal. Bharat Nepal is a instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So they are doing a fantastic job. And then sometimes they come up with the mental health stories that international students are facing, because they are in the forefront of the mental health currently.
Mm-hmm.
And then some international students, go to them asking for some sort of the support. And then
Mm-hmm.
since the Bharat Nepal is already working in the mental health space here in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
so he sometimes, not sometimes, but most of the time, refer students to the available resources in the community. For
Mm-hmm.
example, GP would be the first point of contact, and then
Mm-hmm.
from GP they may refer to the different community organizations who offer services free of cost. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely, it's quite costly to have all those services here in Australia, but
Do you know
have
how costly are they? Any average pricing, you know?
well, I do not know the exact figure,
Uh-huh.
but while working in the space, that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the psychologists, they might charge you up to $200 per hour per
Okay.
session. So look, $200 per hour sessions, it's way expensive for an
It's expensive,
international
man.
student, isn't it?
Very
So
expensive.
yeah, so but having said this, I'm not trying to scare people away.
Mm-hmm.
There are the so many free sessions that you can access from your universities,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are the organizations that they offer free counseling services as well. So yeah, so we can definitely work around those space. And then yeah, definitely first point of contact, I might not be expert,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely first point of contact would be your GP, and then GP would definitely have a lot of community connections way
Mm-hmm.
to connect.
I
So
think you
yeah,
can also start with your counselors. As I said, every university should have a counselor there. I think it's also
yes.
like they have the counselors, but students don't know about it. Students don't know what a counselor does or what happens in there.
Well,
So I,
again, yeah, again, cultural thing, because
yeah.
we never had those counselors back in our country. So
Mm,
those services never existed in our support system. We did not have those sort of the welfare system back in the country. But here we have got a quite good welfare system. And then
mm,
where supports are, it's sometimes quite hard to navigate. So yeah, so in that navigational phase, if we are already into the community, if we could come around and then work together,
mm.
it would be really it would be really beneficial for newcomers and new
Yeah.
internationals. Yeah.
I think I'd love to bring in the people from ANPL out here and talk about that, because I think mental health issue is something that needs to be
Right.
talked about more, especially in
Yeah.
our community. Like, I share my story all the time wherever I can, so that
Mm-hmm.
at least people who might be going through something like that could at least relate to that, and at least could find out that there is help, you can do this. And in most of the cases, again, going back to the podcast we did with the life coach who actually had proper education in neurolinguistic behaviors or something like that, so she's like kind of an expert. And when we were having a chat with her, we also come to a conclusion there that most of the time it's not like a serious depression. It's just like we are stuck under so much of stress and pressure that we just want someone to help us, like to figure out things and get out of it. Like,
Yeah.
most of the times you don't even have to go to a GP. If only you go to a
Yeah.
counselor, talk to them, and get suggestions from them, that's more than enough in most of the cases.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a gap of like communications between the resources or services that are available
Yeah.
and the people who are actually going through those issues.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, the lack is always there. So yeah, definitely, we do not know, or we do not have enough resources,
Hmm.
or sometimes we do not know where to look for resources. Yeah, as you've said, you do not always have to go to GP. Sometimes small change in your lifestyle
Hmm.
can make a lot of difference in terms of your stress. For example, just walking around walking around the green space,
Exactly.
going to the garden, going to the, going near to the plants,
Mm-hmm.
getting that sunshine, listening
Sunshine
to
is
the
very
good
important,
music.
man. Vitamin D is very
Yeah,
important for your mental health.
yeah. So listening to the good music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our brain has got I cannot exactly say what sort of the chemicals,
Mm-hmm.
but our brain needs certain chemicals to bring up that good moods. Like
Yeah.
people say dopamine or something sort
Dopamine.
of
Yeah.
serotonin. Getting into those sort of different space, you
Mm-hmm.
get those sort of the chemicals in your brain. So when you get those sort of the chemicals, when those chemicals are released in your brain, then
Mm-hmm.
you feel different. You get a different mood. So
Exactly.
so sometimes when you feel really low mood, it does not mean that you're going through depression.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is doing a little bit of exercise, getting to get connected with the nature, listening the chirping of the birds,
Mm-hmm.
going closer to the flowers and beautiful things, just having just go by the side of the lake and read your favorite book,
Mm.
just see how those ripples are there in the lake
Yeah.
and then small birds. Oh my God,
Get out
those
of the
things.
routine and enjoy the nature for a day, like for people like that.
Yeah,
I do that
yeah,
from oftentimes, like when I feel like I'm too much of pressurized, and I'm just stressing myself out too much. I just take a
yeah,
break, like for a day or so. I just do nothing and just either watch movies or just go out and travel. And yeah,
yeah,
sometimes that changes the mood. The
yeah.
recent days, actually, I have been doing meditation. Like I do 20 minutes of meditation every morning. I've
Yeah.
been doing it for like 2 weeks, I would say now, and
Mhm.
it had somehow helped me to like figure out or like pinpoint whenever my mood starts to get off,
Yeah, yeah, it
and I
does.
start to either get angry or frustrated, or whenever the noise starts to come out, I somehow have been able to now like figure that okay, this is coming in, and somehow I'm able to just get it out of my system then and there, or at least for the
Yeah.
next day, but
Hmm.
meditation has helped me a lot. So sometimes it's just about talking to yourself what you are doing, what you want to do,
Yeah, yeah.
things like that. If you like this video, hit subscribe. You can listen to the full podcast in YouTube, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.